Hi there, and welcome to my channel, The Brian of All Trades. Today we're going to take country style pork ribs and we're going to smoke them on the pit boss. Now I'm going to show you how I did it. A couple days ago I did ribs and I wanted to bring them to a party, but they got a little messy and they're just not hard to eat, but you have to wash your hands all the time, obviously. Ribs can do that. So today I'm going to try a different technique. Today I'm going to take the ribs, we're going to smoke them like we normally would for about an hour and a half. And then we're going to take them off, we're going to cut them up, and then wrap them in tin foil, put them back on, take them off, put them in a little more sauce, and then put them back on. We're going to use applewood pellets today, and we're going to smoke them at 275. The whole process should take around 3 hours. We'll see how it goes, and I think they're going to be a lot cleaner and easier to eat because you'll be able to use them with a fork, and they'll be nice and clean to take to any party, whether it's the Super Bowl coming up or any party thereafter. I know it's fun to always want to jump into the meat, get the rub on the meat, but one of the first things I'm going to do is actually get the smoker going right now. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. We're here in Minnesota. There's probably 3-4 hours of daylight left, so we're kind of up against the clock on that. So I'm going to get the smoker going. Again, I used this a couple days ago. We're just going to use some apple blend pellets. Pretty easy, straightforward. Don't need to put a huge amount in there. Got the hopper full. We'll be checking these every half hour anyhow, so we can rotate them so they get a good even cook, and we'll see how that goes. So right here, we're going to turn this on, and then we're going to set it down to 275. Get that going. Now, anytime when you start your smoker, you should always leave it open. And that way, once the white smoke dissipates, then you can go ahead and close it so it can really get warm. The other thing I'm going to take out is this middle rack. We're not going to need it today. It's just going to make accessing the food a lot easier. So I'm just going to take that out right now as well. So again, we have about 2.5 pounds of country style pork ribs. We're just going to take these out of the package. And I got the ones without the bones. Simply because I think it's going to be a lot easier to work with, and we did not need the bones. So I'm just going to lay these out. And now I'm going to season these up. I'm going to season them up now. We'll put them on. Again, rotate them every half hour or so for a good, probably close to 2 hours. And then we'll see what the temperature is. We'll take them off. And from there, we will cut them up into cubes so they're something you can eat with a toothpick, something you can eat with a fork, a lot easier to eat. So what I'm going to use today is I'm going to put a little Blue Hog Cajun on there. And for half of them, I'm going to use a Kansas City Championship. And for another part, I'm going to use the Famous Dave's Rib Rub. Now, a lot of these have quite a bit of salt in there. So it kind of depends on what part of the country you're from or what your palate is for salt. But just keep that in mind. I made some wings a couple days ago and they got a little too salty for me. So something to keep in mind. And now these will get a little bit more of that hotter rub on there. And I'm going to flip these over and then we'll do the other side as well. These will get a little bit more of that KC. Make sure they get on the sides as well. And we're going to pat those down. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and check the smoker. I think it has a little ways to go before we can put these on. All right, the Pit Boss Competition Series is up to about 275, 280. It fluctuates a little bit, obviously, to keep that range of what we're looking for at 275. The ribs have had about 15 minutes to set, so that seasoning that we put on there has had plenty of time to absorb into the meat. And now what we're going to do is simply go ahead and place these right on there. And again, we'll come by about every half hour to rotate them and check on them. We don't expect much to be done for at least 2.5 hours. I think the internal temperature, what we're going to look for, is going to be about 165, and then we'll take them off, cube them up. And again, I want to do a slower cook. Otherwise, I could cube them up right now if I wanted to, but then I think they'll just get done too quick. They won't be as moist. And then I want the sauce to also work with them once we cube them up too, so they'll absorb more flavor at that point. So with that, we'll go ahead and set the timer for 30 minutes. There we go. And we'll close this up, and we'll be back then. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot going on yet, but they are looking good, and I'll be back here to rotate them again. And then after they've been on for a little over an hour, we'll go ahead and turn them over so the other side can get a good bark on them as well. All right, so we're about an hour and a half into the cook. Let's take a look and see how things are going. I'm ready to probably flip them over here. We'll see. Well, I think they're doing really well here. Take them and turn them around, turn them over. And there we go. And now what I think we'll do is just check the temperature on a couple of them. Ooh, we're at about 168. 165, right? So it's at 160, so we'll probably move them around a little bit. So again, that ideal temperature that we were looking for is going to be probably a little over 200, 205. But what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to leave them on here for another half hour, and then we'll take them off, we'll cube them up, put them in some sauce, and put them back on. All right, so the ribs have about another half hour to go, but I thought what we'd do in the meantime is whip up a little sauce that I was going to put on them after we take them off, cube them, uh, put them in the sauce, and then put them back on so they can get up to that about 205. And then from there, we'll take them back off, put them on another tray, and then put them back on there. So they kind of get a little, I say, dry on the outside, I guess, a little bit. So they're not quite as sloppy and muddy. But let's go ahead and put the sauce together. So I'm going to try something a little bit different. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to take 1 part barbecue sauce. It can be your favorite type of barbecue sauce that you want or have. And I'm going to try a little bit less of an equal part of just pure maple syrup. And then for a little bit of acidity in there and a little bit more of a bite too, I'm going to put a little Worcester sauce in there as well. I made this a couple days ago when I did the ribs, except for I did not use the maple syrup, but I don't think you can go wrong with maple syrup or a maple flavor and pork at all. So we'll see how this turns out. I like the fact that the maple syrup is a natural sweetener. And so sometimes when I'm doing a smoke, I like to think, okay, what flavor am I really going for? Instead of just mixing in a bunch of stuff that's hot and sweet and spicy and so on and so forth, what are you really trying to get out of something? So, and again, I don't think it ever hurts to have a little bit of a acid in there at the end. And then what this also does is it also makes it a little more runny. It's easier to apply to everything once we do it. So give it a little bit of a taste test here in a second. I think I'm going to add just a hair more maple syrup, to be honest with you. And I also did a pork shoulder. The pork shoulder I did about a month ago. So I bought my smoker in November. And as my father-in-law teased me, he goes, has it cooled off since you used it? Because I've been smoking everything under the sun. It's a lot of fun to play with for like the last 3 months that I've had it and really enjoy it. So those of you that are looking to get into smoking meats and stuff, I think it's going to be kind of a great addition. Easy to smoke stuff, entertain. I've done a couple turkeys, a brisket, the pork shoulder as well. Everything's turned out really good. It pays to watch a lot of different videos and see what other cooks do. And so that's why I thought with this channel, I want to have fun doing this. I want to have fun doing a little bit of everything. It doesn't hurt to dive into it, let you know what works, what doesn't work. I'm not afraid to say if something didn't work. And so I used brown sugar on that pork shoulder last time. It tasted really good. But I thought, boy, if this had maybe a little bit more of a maple flavor, it was going to be maybe a little less gummy. So I got a new pork shoulder recipe I'm going to try. So look on my channel for that one and let me know what you think. So kind of done mixing equal parts with this. And I'm just going to, yeah, I like that so far. So I think what we'll do is we'll wait for the ribs to get done. We'll bring them on over, cut them off, cube them up. And in the meantime, too, I'll take and get some aluminum foil out, make a little tray for everything to go on, and then they can sit there and baste when we put them back on. And just like that, we'll make ourselves a little tray. We'll put the sauce down, cube those up, fold this all over, and put them back on. So these have been on a little bit more than a half an hour. And right now I'm going to take them off and we're going to put them back on the rack with a little more barbecue sauce and then put them back on. Ooh, and these are looking really good. So part of my thought process is to simply take all these off, put them on here. One thing I was trying to get away from was maybe so much of that. Alrighty, I probably could have just went ahead and used that extra juice that was already in there, but I made some more up anyway. Go ahead and give these one good slather. And then I think what I'm going to do is turn up the heat on the smoker to close to 400, maybe 375. And hope that they kind of get a sear to them. That's what I'm looking for. Alrighty, those are looking good. So we'll set that aside. We'll go put these on right now at about 400 degrees and leave them on for maybe 20, 25 minutes. We'll see how that goes. Well, I tell you what, I apologize. I had to finish the cook outside, obviously, but I'm going to finish the video inside the garage. A little bit of a messy garage, so I apologize for that. I did turn up it got a little dark outside, basically, is what happened here. It's 5:45, in February, so what do you expect? But anyways, I finished the cook. I turned up the temperature to about 400 degrees. Got a lot of smoke. Obviously, there's barbecue sauce and maple syrup on these things, so they're probably dripping down and stuff. But it really looks like I got it to where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and try one. I did do the temperature. The temperature was anywhere from 205 to 209 is kind of what I was reading. So they're definitely done. But let's give it a try and see how it is. That is really good, if I do say so myself. I'm going to try one more here for the fun of it. You can see how the bottom's got a little crisp. They're not messy, easy to eat with a fork, all cut up, all parts. Sides are covered in barbecue sauce that is now cooked onto it, adhered to it a little bit more. You can definitely tell some of those flavors coming out from the rub that were put on there. And then you have the barbecue sauce and the maple syrup. I think that really sealed the deal. That is really good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in a bowl, take them inside, and we'll call it good. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.